human in, and in no time you've got a swarm. And I heard human women sit astride a man.
So, you thought it over? I'm on my way to the recruiting station.
Adam,
What do you think, sir?
You wanted to discuss something?
There's proof that the Wild Hunt is a vast accumulation of the power. Something that would interest mages, you'd think.
To the mere mortal, anything that is not immediately comprehensible is suspect, the product of a conspiracy. And where there's a conspiracy, well, it's obvious mages must have hatched it.
I'm a mortal, though probably not a mere one. I found the notes of a man who spent his entire life...
Paranormal phenomena interests Cynthia, my intern. Take this up with her.
Your friend Sheila is conniving with Henselt.
I know this, Witcher, but it's no cause for concern. Sheila is there to ensure Henselt doesn't fall prey to the same people who killed Foltest. We don't want him as sovereign of the Pontar Valley, but we also don't need Kedwin to descend into civil war.
I found one of the ingredients for Saskia's cure.
Show me. Interesting. Getting warmer, but still not there. It's as if I'd sent you to get me the sun and you'd brought me a candle. We need something massive, an item of real power, Geralt. This is a dwarf's dream. Stolen and magically encased in this crystal. It would do if it was stronger.
You know what this means? In addition to normal harpies, there are Solano in the area.
Solano?
Dream snatchers. The only harpy species to develop something resembling intelligence. They magically bind dreams to mountain crystals. I heard they once inhabited this area. Solano live among regular harpies, but their lair should be full of stolen dreams. One of those would be powerful enough, I'm sure.
You'd have to enter the harpy lair through the quarry. Unfortunately, the gate to the caves is locked and Cecil Burden won't open it. I asked him on another occasion. Stubborn as a mule, that one. But we must not relent. Saskia clings to life by a thread. Let me show you the desire contained in this particular dream. Don't be hasty to judge.
Yes, I can feel it. Whose dream is it?
Cecil Burden's.
In that case, I need to see the alderman. Got a feeling he just might open the gate for me.
You wanted to discuss something?
I found an immortelle.
Excellent. You wanted to discuss...
I've got Triss's bandana.
Have you learned anything?
Triss was here. Letho forced her to teleport.
Why would he? There are easier ways to travel.
Two of Letho's comrades, probably those responsible for Demiven's death, were hiding among the Scoia'tael. When it became evident in Flotsam that the Kingslayer wanted to dispose of Yorvith, the Scoia'tael leader gave the order to eliminate them. Letho had to reach the unit before the elven messengers did. He could only do that by teleporting.
I assumed that Triss wanted to teleport to me, but she missed the mark and they ended up in the gullies. What happened next?
Letho left her in a gully, wounded. He probably thought that she'd diversify the local trolls' diet. He himself went to see the elves and massacred the unit with his comrades. They're somewhere on the other side of the fog.
What about Triss?
She escaped from the troll. Everything suggests she's somewhere in the area.
I can assure you she is not in Vergen.
She has to be here. Locate her.
I'll try, but it will take some time. Have you learned anything else?
Sheila ordered Letho and Triss killed.
I can't believe that.
Believe it. I ran into some mercenaries she enlisted to kill Letho and anyone found with him.
She must have meant the other Kingslayers. Are you sure she knew Triss was with him?
Are you so sure of Sheila? There was something going on between her and Triss. I sensed a lot of tension.
A misunderstanding.
Maybe. Let's find Triss and clear everything up.
I need some time. What's going on out there?
Let's see.
What's going on?
The peasants want to take pitchforks to King Demavend's son.
Why?
The Dragon Slayer's servant is spreading rumors that Stennis poisoned Saskia. The commoners are in an uproar. They want to dispense justice.
Where's the prince?
Barricaded himself in his room, guarded by nobles. For the moment, the peasants are still respectful, but they are feverish. A fight is inevitable. Help us out. The situation is dire. I'm going to inform the other nobles.
Dogs growl at cats. Cats hiss at the dogs. The noble's a wolf to a peasant.
Forget those animalistic similes and take care of it. I'll try to locate Triss. And should anything happen to Prince Stennis, remember, we need his blood.
I remember.
What's this? Clad in hues of green.
You're stupid. She just fell unconscious.
The commoners claim it's our prince's doing.
Serfs and lords will never...
Geralt! It's good to see you.
The commoners claim Stennis is involved in Saskia's poisoning. They're looking to slaughter him.
Nobody to keep things peaceful.
Scalen Burden and his dwarves are trying to contain the mob, but they're badly outnumbered.
The plebs will yell a lot, beat someone up, and go home. As peasants do.
That'd be foolish. They're not serfs anymore. The days of them humbly sowing and reaping are gone.
Looks like things are getting nasty.
Hear me!
What do you want?
I'm Scalen Burden. I keep order in Vergen.
Are doing a nice job then? Where was you when they poisoned Saskia?
Give us the prince! Get the flails!
Stop!
Yorveth!
Squirrels! Everyone who wants to leave this yard in one piece, keep your hands off your weapons. I don't care if you're a serf or a lord. I'll kill you all if need be.
What's going on?
The servant carrying wine during the feast said that Prince Stennis and Olgan poisoned Saskia. We want justice!
You want revenge. It's not the same thing.
We don't care. Saskia's fallen as if dead, while the poisoning prince and noble lords rush to herd us onto the field and sell us to Henselt. We won't let them!
You lie, Colton. Nobody's being sold out. The poisoner must be caught and tried by law.
Your law? What then? He'll pay a fine and get spanked on his ass? We'll spank him all right, with an axe to the throat!
Where's this servant?
Safe. The Scoia'tael keep an eye on him.
Why is the prince hiding in his house if he's innocent?
Enough! I'll shoot the first to reach for a weapon. Then heads will start falling.
There's more of us. You can't kill every...
Then you'll be first. Now back off! We need to act quickly.
What's your plan?
I'll frighten them a little. Bleed them if need be. I'll buy you some time, but be swift. I can't hold them off for long. Question the peasants and the nobles, and talk to the dwarves. Maybe you can get to meet Stennis.
Even if he's guilty, I'm sure he's prepared a suitable story.
You'll know how to sort the sheep from the goats. Also, find the servant who started talking so suddenly. You won't have time to talk to everyone, though, that's for sure.
Good. Bloody bastard poisoned the Virgin.
Change your tone when we put a
Saskia's on the pier with Hensel.
Say, Witcher, come over here.
Faithful the mist.
Why is he lingering about? Like the stench in a dwarven hovel.
Those witchers be craving gold. This one's sure to say the prince is innocent, then sting Stennis for a pouch.
He better search for a lad who served the Virgin instead of pissing around.
Yeah, once done with the prince, he'd better take care of the magnets. Throwing their weight about too much they are.
The prince stood right next to Saskia during the council. Did he have access to the wine cellar beforehand?
How should I know?
Why flap your mouth then?
The prince is a wealthy lord. Bribing a skivvy to poison the wine is nothing to him.
Just because someone can afford gold teeth doesn't mean they'll pull their healthy ones. You know Saskia's servant?
Willie of the Oblates. He handled the wine, indeed, but loves the Virgin like a sister and mother put together.
He'd gladly get quartered for her.
Where's this Willie of yours?
Hiding in his shack, afraid of them lords. Squirrels guard him.
What's it really all about? Who's backing you?
We want justice.
We don't need no one backing us. We knows what...
How would you punish the prince?
If a lad counts hens wrong, he'll be flogged. What should we then do with a man poisoning others?
Kill him.
A land without a ruler is a nightmare.
We have a ruler, the Virgin of Eden.
It's not certain she'll live.
Then we'll choose another who'll manage. But he must be one of us lads. That way he'll understand us.
And all people is gonna be equal, our way.
And the non-humans?
We have enough down on the fields. Let non-humans find a non-human land.
Away with them!
Farewell.
Give us this whoreflower!
What would the prince gain with the Virgin's death?
I could tell you what he lost with her life.
Serfs and lords will never be on the same side.
Who will the Witcher side with?
It's a very good term.
They say someone cast a spell, and the Virgin fell as if dead. Could be.
There goes the piece, eh? Nobody'll believe me anyway.
Strangers.
I've been looking for you.
I don't know you.
You caused quite a commotion. Afraid of something?
No, nothing.
You're lying.
I didn't do nothing. Didn't say nothing, don't know nothing, and didn't see nothing.
Tell me everything you know about the attempt on Saskia's life.
I heard the priest talking with the prince. This goody-goody said the Virgin is really a beast under her fair skin.
What priest?
Olcan, the one killed.
So there's no way I can check if you're lying.
I swear on my mother's grave, I speak the truth.
What else did you hear? Tell me.
I was putting Saskia's room in order when the priest came to the prince's chamber next door. He wasn't speaking loud, but I heard the priest say, "Just clear the servants from the kitchen." Nothing more. Reverend Olcan, only he could tell you how it was, beginning to end.
The dead aren't very talkative.
What about what they leave behind? There may be clues or some such.
Maybe.
Or should I pale face, eyes like embers? It raised his hand and pointed a finger at it.
I'd rather rabbit dogs bite me in the arse than be pointed at by some wraith.
What happened there?
What do you think? He ran from the battlefield.
Them all by the balls and let them swing. say someone cast a spell.
Oh, a witcher.
I had a dream. We were mining up at the face of the tide like in the old days. I couldn't stand it now. Toil underground all your life, then a 3-day break before they bury you again. This time for good. That was a dumb idea. Baldy, squirt, something like that. Exactly.
Shut your trap if you don't know what's going on!
Suddenly I heard, Canary's dead. I broke out in a cold sweat. I started sniffing intensely like a dog in a butcher's shop. Maybe it's just asleep, I asked. I see Cecil poking at the cage. Then I heard a squelch, and Cecil, gravely serious, says, "Who fed the bird mash?"
Eh? That's a witcher, not a human.
No schnapps?
Nope.
Take care of yourself, Witcher. Take care of yourself, Witcher. Take care of yourself, Witcher.
Hello. Take care of yourself, Witcher. Hello. Take care of yourself, Witcher.
I never finished telling you about Mary. So, we were working at the fort, and the run was going swift. But suddenly I hear, Canary's dead! I broke out in a cold sweat. I started sniffing intensely, like a dog in a butcher's shop. Maybe it's just asleep, I asked. This is so cold. Then I heard a squelch, and Cecil, gravely serious, says, "Who fed the bird mash?"
horse on! 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 You horse on! You horse on! You horse on! Horse on! You horse on! You horse on! Horse on! You horse on! You horse on! Horse on! Horse on! Horse on! Horse on!
Eva! Eh? That's a witcher, not a human.
No, it's not.
They lie in wait for their lord and prince. Humans are an odd lot. I certainly hope Scalen can clean up this mess. What can I do for you, Witcher?
I need to know where Reverend Olkin used to live.
Simple. Let me show you on the map. It's about right here.
I need to get inside the Harpy lair.
No chance.
I know all about the Harpies. They steal dreams, collect them. I found one, but it proved too weak for our purposes. I need a stronger one. So I'm asking you nicely, open the damn gate.
Listen, Witcher. I want Saskia to recover, I do. But don't ask me to turn this town into a circus just before we battle Henselt. My grandfather locked that gate for a good reason. Imagine if we could all go in there to look at those dreams. Dwarves, peasants, their scoia'tael, Adernian nobles even. All seeing the desires of others. Terrifying. It would be the end of Vergen. What's more, legend has it the oldest stolen dreams can become reality. And I don't want nightmares stalking Vergen's back alleyways come nightfall.
Open it. I'll make it quick.
Stop pissing me off. You're acting like a drunk suitor. No means no.
You know, don't know if I should mention this, but the dream I found belongs to you.
What are you talking about?
It's an embarrassing affliction, I imagine. Hell, even something of a political liability in your case. Some might even call you a freak. You're the alderman. An ages-old tradition is vested in you. On top of that, you now lead the preparations for Vergen's defense.
You wouldn't dare.
Imagine your ancestors carved in stone. Condemnation, not pride on their bearded faces. Who knows? Maybe you'd keep your office, but you'd be the talk of the town for ages. And your nephew? Poor kid.
I'll open the gate. I promised Scalen's mother I'd be sober as a judge to the end of my days, and I aim to keep my word. I don't give a damn about ages-old traditions and piss on loose talk. But you're right. I cannot compromise Vergen's morale. You must bury this thing. The secret dies with you, never to be spoken aloud. Understand?
I do. Thanks, Cecil, and good luck staying sober. We killed most of the necrophages.
Most?
The passage to the lower level collapsed. They won't get out. In time, they'll die off and you can restart work.
Thank you, Witcher. The whole of Vergen thanks you. Here's your coin. Shive, Skaggs, and Zigrim will get the same.
Cecil, do you know anyone who fought in the war 3 years ago?
I did.
Did you fight here at Vergen?
Course.
Philippa claims you know a bit about the battle.
That old kook Henselt, called king by some, thought that Adernians were bumpkins who'd ship bricks as soon as his troops crossed the river.
Why did he attack Edirn?
According to Henselt, Upper Edirn is the ancient legacy of the Kedwenny crown and must be returned to the mother country. Brazen farter.
That brazen farter had a point. If you read some history, you'll know that 300 years ago this land belonged to Kedwen.
Load of crab. 700 years ago, the elves reigned here. And 1,000,000 years ago, these lands were the domain of the worms. If things worked that way, every king could invade a neighboring land and claim his right to do so because an ancestor took a dump there.
All right. Hensel wanted to conquer Upper Edirn. What then?
He rolled in, got hammered, and rolled out.
Cecil, that doesn't help me much.
It wasn't a battle. It was a slaughter. If I try speaking of it, I'll see it all again. I don't want...
The ghosts of the fallen fight in the mist. They turn into horrible creatures called Draugrs. Eternians, Kedweni, men, elves, and dwarves too.
Bloody hell. No peace even after death.
I want to help them, but I need to know more about the battle.
Very well. Listen, a beautiful day that grew hot later. Very hot. When Van de Grift attacked in the afternoon, he sent a dun banner at the fore. Many of our lads shit themselves at the mere sight of their standard, but we had a surprise of our own. Under the cover of night, we prepared fire pits. Our archers lit them up at the right moment. I still can't believe we managed to fool their scouts. If it wasn't for that ambush, we wouldn't be speaking today. They likely wouldn't be in Upper Edirn at all. We decimated the dun banner, but that was only the beginning. Seltkirk was our commander. Everywhere he appeared, the Kedwenis gave ground. He wreaked havoc among them. Hearts rose at the mere sight of his armor. Then, Van de Grift himself entered the fray. Seltkirk met him in the middle of the field. In the end, Van de Grift killed Seltkirk. A terrible death that sent the Edirnian ranks into disarray. I thought it was the end of us. Then the sky fell, as if the stars themselves had decided to avenge the death of a great knight. Fire covered the battlefield. Nobody sought the enemy. They were all looking for somewhere to flee. Yes, there were no more friends and enemies, only the living and the dead. They say it was the doing of a Kidweni sorceress who wanted revenge on Van de Grift. Could be true, as Henselt had her executed right after the battle.
You saw the Kedwenis cross the river?
From afar. I saw Van de Grift leading 4,000 heavily armed men. Many a heart sank when we saw the elite bearheads or the armoured banners from Ardcarrig. The dun banner was in the middle, veterans of Brenna. As soon as he set foot on Edirnian land, Van de Grift climbed a hill and surveyed the area, as if it was his fief. Son of a bitch was as sure of himself as ever. Upon spying him, I remember the dwarves all dropped their trousers and showed him their asses. Then Seltkirk stepped out in front of us. His white armour shone in the sun. We were afraid a Kedweni arbalist would shoot him, but they too stood as if frozen, and Seltkirk just looked at them and bowed ever so slightly.
Remember anything from before the battle?
As if it was yesterday. Henselt's troops crossed the Pontard the third day after the autumn equinox. Edirn had good spies, so we were ready for them, and Seltkirk lined up our troops along the hills. Our hearts rose at the sight of the banners of Vengerberg, Aldersberg and Gullet fluttering in the wind. Knights and armoured infantry side by side in our ranks. Even the peasants had their regiments. The dwarves were on the left flank. Over 5,000 strong we were. Nobody caring about race or background, like never before. Only King Demavend was missing, but he must have had more important business than defending his country.
You captured the Dun Banner standard?
Henselt's choice troops, and not a one survived. The visitors sent them to their deaths, refused to give them reinforcements. He was a monster in human form. The men of the Dun were real swaggerers. Killed a lot of our lads, but for every Dunner, there were 7 Edirnians. They had no chance. Aye, we captured their standard. We buried what was left of them in the crypts beyond Vergen. Their standard lies with them. Worthy foes are to be respected, even in death.
I'm going to need that standard. Did you see the duel between Seltkirk and Van der Grift?
I stood half a furlong from them. Never seen a fight like it. Probably never will again. They'd already met once at a jousting tournament in Ardcarreg. Selkirk won there. He beat on the visitor so hard he broke his sword. Selkirk was a true knight, the last of his breed. Vandergrift was so pissed off after that tournament he hanged the smith who made his sword and ordered a special one from a sorcerer. I bet he cut down Selkirk with that new sword.
Vandergrift is dead. What happened to his sword?
Saskia's got it. Good thing too. Only her hand can tame the hatred enchanted in that sword. After the battle, when the flames abated, the scavengers came. They stole everything. Imagine, not a single keepsake or Selkirk in the whole of Edirn. His brother babbles something about a gauntlet, but he's a lying dog.
Thanks, Cecil, that was helpful. I think I know what I need to lift the curse now.
Madame Eilhard claims you need 4 symbols. The standard symbolizes death. Vandergrift's sword stands for hatred. What about the other 2?
I have a feeling Philippa has a handle on the rest.
Here's hoping you're right.
stupid. She just fell unconscious. Lost her life. Oh.
It's not for that damn
Guilt must be
Serfs and lords will
Otherwise,
never
Go
be
get the
understood.
lads, you won't stand for this.
Humans only care how their asses rise
my
if their
hand!
stations do.
I'll cut the
They're
block
playing
off the
into
next man
Hensel's
who dares
hands.
try his
If they
luck.
start at each other's throats, we'll have to face the entire amount of Cadwin alone. Say, Witcher,
Why is he
come over
lingering
here.
about? Like the stench in a dwarven hovel.
Those witches be craving gold. This one's sure to say the prince is innocent. Yeah, one.
Farewell.
Give us this
Mix
flower.
water with fire.
Roll it.
Why?
Those. Yeah,
Farewell.
Saskia could.
And you see,
I'd gladly hear your opinion on the situation.
finally, someone reasonable. It's obvious Henselt bribed some serf who then did what he was told.
The local peasants love Saskia.
Those surly dogs would gleefully accept a heavy pouch. Show me a serf with any sense of honor.
That's interesting.
Just think it through. The prince couldn't have done it. The wine was in plain sight. Only the servants touched the decanters, and who are they? Commoners. Then that same commoner incited his folk to stand against the nobles and the prince.
Something to think about.
Enough of this charade.
Try to be reasonable, folks. Sit down and talk.
We've talked enough. Come on, lads, let's drag.
Vergen's not a cesspit for anyone to shit in. There are laws to abide, and Scalen Burden's job is to uphold them.
There's no law allowing a serf to threaten a king's scion. I, Silgrat, brother of Seltkirk, the greatest knight to walk Edirnian land, say so.
Does it matter who was born in a castle and who in a pigsty? Any fool can prejudge and condemn. It's easier to accuse than to prove guilt.
A peasant servant claims that Prince Stennis supposedly attempted to kill Saskia. Why would the prince do such a dastardly deed? Bear in mind how eminent is his lineage.
That's why. The mongrel covets the crown.
Do you even remember how valorous he was towards Saskia during the negotiations with Henselt?
Pretending to be with her, he was, sly fox. Taking the simple peasants in. But us lads ain't so dumb as you lords think.
See for yourselves how the commoners hate the prince, spitting venom like adders. They hatched a plot to dispose of him.
Saskia's servant said that.
Where is this servant, might I ask? If he's got something to say, why does he hide like a thief? The answer is simple. He's a fraud.
He's hiding to save his skin from you, whoresons. Squirrels have to guard him.
One last question. How could the prince poison Saskia? It's a known fact that servants taste wine from the barrels before the virgin sips it.
A good point. We can't be sure if the prince poisoned the wine.
Stennis is blowing hot and cold. Everyone knows that.
You were supposed to prove his guilt, not insult him, yokel.
Tell us who else would do it. A peasant wanted to hurt the miss? Never. It's cause of her you noble dogs can't ignore us. A pig won't cut its own throat. A peasant's not foolish enough to raise his hand against his savior.
Perhaps it is no peasant's deed. However, that doesn't mean the prince is guilty, fool.
Answer me this. Was not Stennis' room next to Saskia's? Do not the wines come from his own lice-ridden cellar? Can he not enter the Virgin's kitchen at will? Yes. His serene dumhead the prince can. Curses on his kin. Nobody in Vergen wants to kill Saskia. And even if they wanted, nobody but Stennis could do it.
You're wrong, Colton. Reverend Olkin wanted to get rid of Saskia. He thought she was a monster at heart.
Olkin was on Stennis'.
How dare you, lout! Do you imagine if someone sits next to a married lady, he's surely fucking?
The priest tried to convince Prince Stennis to join the conspiracy.
Is Stennis some dimwit foundling that he dances to a lousy priest's tune? Olcan got what he deserved when Henselt cleaved his head. Now it's Stennis' time.
There is no proof the prince agreed.
The priest asked him for admittance to the kitchen.
So he didn't poison the Virgin himself, but allowed her to be poisoned.
Those are just words. Too much guesswork and not enough evidence. You can't convict anyone based on that.
Your Highness, this is dangerous.
I am not afraid.
Fear is a commoner's trait, unfit for one with royal blood running in his veins. What do you want, to judge me? Is a prince a common thief who steals a dozen eggs at the market? You stand before royal majesty, and you raise your hands against it. In this world there are crimes that can be forgiven, and crimes that, by any means, cannot. Just as a mother killing her own child, or a man slitting his own brother's throat cannot be forgiven. A crime against one anointed by the gods themselves also cannot be condoned. He who raises hand against divine right is not worthy to walk this world.
And what about he who poisons the Virgin of Eden?
Firstly, Saskia is alive, so no one can blame me for her death. Secondly, you have no proof that it was I who tried to murder her. And thirdly, I assure all gathered here, I won't rise above the law. However, only she, the Virgin of Eden, can judge me.
Can it? And if Saskia won't get well, who's gonna judge you?
I believe she can be cured. But if the gods decide otherwise, we'll summon a coven of the wise who can pass just sentence.
Those are words worthy of a true sovereign.
I am the one you should look to for guidance. Let my deeds be the flame that lights up your darkness.
The prince has a right to a fair trial, no matter if he's guilty or not. We can't deny him that. What will the peasants do if we hand them the prince? Will they hear him out? No. They'll hang him from the nearest tree or tear him limb from limb. What will happen if we allow a lynching? What if people see that might makes right? Who'll guarantee they won't desire to avenge their wrongs, real and imagined? Who'll protect people whose only fault is noble birth from the exasperated mob? And where will it lead?
The peasants are furious.
They didn't dare mount a frontal attack.
But they haven't forgotten about Stennis, and won't. It'll be that way until Saskia regains consciousness.
She won't keep order by strength alone.
Unless it's a great strength.
We need an authority figure, and royal blood.
5 courts go to waste in the Dwarven dungeon at the moment.
There's also Henselt.
Going into that haunted mist is madness. Stealing Stennis away would be easier.
No. Anything involving Stennis will cause a riot.
I've had enough of the peasants and nobles barking. Saskia's the best leader I know, but she can't hope to defeat Henselt's army with this rabble, which is why I'm going to get reinforcements.
Where?
4 Scoia'tael units await in hiding to the east. Time to summon them.
You'll make it in time?
I must.
I tried locating Triss, but the mist disrupts the megascope. There's a weak signal nearby, probably on the other side.
In the Kedweni camp?
You'll have to pass through the mist.
The mist is full of wraiths.
I'll help you. I'm continuously scanning the battlefield. I'll show you the way through. I'll find you when you enter the mist.
Farewell, then.
We still need royal blood.
I know. Henselt.
We need his blood, not his death.
How many times do I have to tell you I'm not a kingslayer? I'm trying to learn something about the Wild Hunt.
Very interesting phenomenon. Like all mysterious things.
Willing to share what you know?
Well, I would be. Provided you found the notes of Morton Collis first. He devoted almost his entire life to researching the hunt. We could go into detail if you had his scribblings.
I found Morton Collis's notes.
So, let's see what you've learned.
Well, there are a few documented facts, but Collis notes the existence of plenty of myths and legends.
Very true. Where shall we start, then?
First and foremost, Collis studied the hunt's movement.
Oh, it's well known that the wild hunt moves north to south, never in the opposite direction.
That's what I remember, and Collis's research confirms it. I'm just having trouble understanding why that is.
The retinue's trajectory brings it into our world at the North Pole. Thus, once here, the wraiths can only move south.
Collis claims the hunt's appearance can be predicted by observing the Orcan Nebula.
And eclipses affect how often it appears. In any case, it arrives on the winter solstice, though not necessarily every year.
Collis calculated that the hunt slips into our world in those years when the nebula is in the eastern sky. When I pursued the hunt, I passed through many abandoned villages.
Well, the wild hunt abducts young people.
What for?
The wraiths might need workers, warriors, or meat.
Collis seems to favor the slave theory. What's the sorceress's take on the hunt?
The topic makes them uneasy. Since the Council and Conclave banned the use of mind spells, the wild hunt has been a taboo topic.
There's some link between mental spells and the cavalcade?
Both addle the brain. Anyone who has come in contact with the wild hunt has experienced mental instability that either takes the form of insanity or amnesia. You see, the wraiths emit a magnetic field that severely distorts perception and impedes brain functions.
People say the hunt's appearance is an omen of war.
In our times, wars are so frequent, we might even consider flights of honking geese as their harbinger. The hunt traverses our world in winter. Wars usually break out in spring, but only because rulers wish their soldiers to die in battle rather than of cold.
Let's summarize.
Based on his observations and calculations of the wild hunt's movements, Collis arrived at two equally important conclusions. The first was that the hunt is made up of knights who perished in various worlds and have reconvened as a retinue of vengeance. His second hypothesis states that an unknown, extremely powerful force multiplies wraiths, whose task is to travel between worlds in search of slaves. Both theories seem probable.
Each time someone runs into the hunt, the wraith's magnetic field causes their mind to descend into chaos. By inference, another meeting with the hunt and its field should reverse the effects of the first.
Perhaps. Someone who lost their memory or their mind on their first meeting with the Hunt could recover either on the second meeting. But I'm afraid that's unproved. Anyone who has managed to escape the Wraiths would rather die than meet them again.
So, you can lose or recover your memory by meeting the Wild Hunt.
Do you know something I don't?
I have amnesia, but my memory's been coming back since a certain event.
Since when?
Since I killed a spectre, the king of the Wild Hunt. You know Sheila?
I've seen her cast spells. I've seen all the great sorceresses at work. Sheila's quite manly in her style. Precise, logical, exceptionally composed. But she lacks grace and suppleness.
Is that your opinion? Or are you just repeating what Philippa says?
We agree in our assessment. Triss Marigold, on the other hand, is talented. But she lacks determination, courage, and a certain cold willfulness that seems necessary.
That's interesting.
Kira Metz and Margarita Lo Antiel are both blasé, seemingly resigned. One's a hedonist and nymphomaniac. The other cares only about her school. They lost enthusiasm for magic long ago. Then there's Francesca Finderbear. Nobody really knows what the old she-elf is capable of. But she's clearly very powerful.
I take it Philippa has none of these flaws, but she must have some weakness.
Ambition. Infinite, boundless, and burning like the Korath Desert.